guys, welcome back to the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. We're talking today about WWE and its possible COVID outbreak and how that might affect day one, and some news from Ring of Honor as far as their future in 2022. So the information coming out, of course, is some of you probably already know this, that there was a COVID outbreak in WWE within the NXT roster and also on the main roster. And the main concern right now is how is this going to affect the day one show coming up this weekend. So a lot of people have been contracted COVID. Some of the people who have been pulled off of the shows don't have COVID. Some do. Obviously, Roman Reigns with his health issues, he was a main concern, and he is main eventing the day one show, and he is the man right now in WWE. So they pulled him off of the show. But one of the wrestlers that has been confirmed as having COVID on the main roster is Seth Rollins, who is participating in a main match at day one. And we do wish Seth Rollins well, and hopefully that his COVID case isn't too serious. Also for Becky Lynch and their child as well, that it doesn't kind of spread and become a bad thing. We don't want to see people hurt like that. Wrestling aside, this is real life stuff, so hopefully Seth is going to be okay. This, though, did require WWE to do a lot of switching around this past weekend on a lot of its house shows. So in case in point, Seth Rollins was supposed to be part of a main event. Kevin Owens was in a cage match, and they pulled Seth obviously off of the shows and rushed Edge to face Kevin Owens at the Madison Square Garden show, I believe it was. The MSG show, by the way, was kind of half full, so that's kind of a downer too for WWE. But the main thing that they're kind of focusing on right now is day one. And I have a feeling that day one show is going to be an annual thing, and they really want this first one to go well. It's kind of weird how, like, for a number of years, the beginning of January, that was pretty much New Japan time, and now the Western companies are like, wait a minute, we're going to come in and we're going to do shows. We're going to do Battle of the Belts, and we're going to do day one in the first week of January. So you guys forget about that whole New Japan thing. So, but the big thing going on now is that the card may be switched around a lot for day one. They don't really know yet, but this is WWE, and WWE is doing its typical policy of the show must go on. I don't think anybody realistically thought they were going to cancel the show anyway. I mean, this is the same company that when Owen Hart died in the middle of the ring, or in the corner of the ring, unfortunately, not to make light of it, but Owen Hart died in the ring on a show on live pay-per-view, and they kept the show going. So I don't think some people having COVID is going to stop WWE from putting on a show. They're going to put on day one come hell or high water. It's just a question of how that card is going to be shaped. Roman Reigns, of course, has been pulled off of the house shows because of his health issues that are well documented, and he pulled himself off, what was that, 2 years ago. He wasn't going to show up because, Roman's got some serious health issues, and he is highly susceptible for COVID. So it is a big concern for a lot of these guys and girls to be at these shows and at these arenas and in front of these crowds. Because remember, here in the West, AEW and WWE and Impact, they're not, having their fans put on masks, which doesn't really, it's like 20% less chance. I mean, there's a whole thing about the cloth masks that have come out. I'm not even going to get into that because that would start a whole other debate. But they're not requiring that level of protection. They're not requiring people in most of the shows to be, have a COVID test or anything else. There's debate back and forth on whether or not they should or they shouldn't, and I'm not going to get into all that, but it's just the fact that in the East, they are still doing social distancing. They are still putting on masks in Japan and places like that. So there is a big issue, but I don't think either way, because there have been COVID cases in the Japanese wrestling scene, and there's been COVID cases in the American wrestling scene, so it is what it is. I think, though, that hopefully WWE is going to be responsible with this and not expose their fans or any more of their staff or wrestlers to possibly being in contact with people who have COVID cases. Only time will tell. I'm just going to hope that they do the right thing and they are taking the precautions that they need to take behind the scenes. And WWE, when it comes to health, say whatever you want to about the company. When it does come to like health stuff like this, they tend to be pretty good with it. So I'm just hoping that trend continues here in the day one show. On to Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor had a giant press release this past week where they did talk about the future of Ring of Honor. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ring of Honor, of course, has shut its doors. They are going on hiatus for a while, and a lot of the wrestlers who they were paying throughout the pandemic, when they weren't even running shows, had been paid, but now they've let a lot of them just go wherever they want to. They didn't renew their contracts. So the question is now, what is the future of Ring of Honor? We got kind of a glimpse of it from this press release. What they said is that they had already intended to kind of relaunch Ring of Honor before the pandemic started. They had planned, given that AEW was now on the scene and WWE, they were planning on investing more in their production, which is something I said they should have been doing a long time ago. I remember the Madison Square Garden show with Juice Robinson coming out, and you couldn't even see him on stage because the lighting was so bad. It's like stuff like that they need to improve upon. Now, do I want them to get quite as gaudy with it as WWE and Impact are? Because my personal opinion is that those two shows are a little bit overproduced as far as all the special effects and everything else. Or are they going to kind of keep it a little bit more middle of the road like AEW does, or just a tad bit more sophisticated than promotion like MLW? I hope that they're going to go the MLW AEW route and just have just crisper cameras, crisper lighting, better special effects and everything else for their shows. And it sounds like they were planning on doing that because you're going to have to go to bigger arenas. But the problem is COVID came, and they had planned all of this before March of 2020. Then the pandemic screwed them all up. And now it seems like they're going to take their time. They're going to come back in April. It's going to be a brand new Ring of Honor. I guess we're going to call it ROH 2.0. That's the new thing now. Or RH2, you know, the hip kids don't say the .0. You know, it's not Web 3.0, it's Web 3, it's NXT 2, and it's probably going to be ROH2 coming up in the future here. But, you know, that's a good news. It seems like Ring of Honor isn't dead, that Ring of Honor will be back. They will be back bigger and better than ever. And, you know, whether or not there's a place for them, where they're going to rank up in the hierarchy of Western wrestling, you know, with WWE on top, AEW in second, and then there's this kind of battle right now between MLW, Impact, Ring of Honor when they get back into it, and even GCW now, who are making a lot of moves as to who that 4th, 5th, and 6th tier wrestling company is going to be. But I want to know what you guys think about this. What do you think about day one and the unfortunate cases of COVID that have hit WWE? What do you think about Ring of Honor coming back and improving their production quality so they can be able to at least keep pace with the AEWs and the WWEs of the world? Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Until then, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and be sure to share this video on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you talk about sports, entertainment, and pro wrestling. I will see you guys again soon for more news, rumors, and commentary here on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.